Shout out the balls.
You know what we got here, Harold?
I'm
We did
loving that. Little
we did
lime.
we didn't do it last week,
We
but we
didn't
got to
crack.
do it for this one. You got to crack it.
I
And
already
of
put it
course, you know what I'm
out of
drinking.
respect.
The
Out of
cold one
respect, the cold ones.
conversations, Philly drinkers,
What's
pint
going on,
glass.
everyone? Light it up. Light the candle.
Hey, we're back. We're better than ever, baby. What's going on, Harold? You bring us in.
What's going on, everyone? You are back on another episode of the greatest sports show. As a matter of fact, the greatest show that you could ever find on YouTube, the Apple Podcast app, Spotify, wherever you find us. It's Cold Ones Conversations. It's Hollywood Hair, who goes by many names. And he's joined by Brendan the Bod Petrilli. And it's football season, ladies and gentlemen. We're
It's
going into
football. It is
it is
football season. It is
football.
here, baby. I'm pumped. I
We
am
are
so
going
stoked.
we are going into week 1. The fall weather is in the air. The crisp breeze is hitting your backside. You're going into Starbucks. You're paying $8.99 for a pumpkin spice latte, and you're saying to yourself, "What happened to this economy? I remember when this drink was $4.29."
Hey, easy.
Brendan the
Easy.
Bod, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, man, because guess what? Today we have NFL football. It's no
That's right.
longer talking about the ifs, ands, and buts of every situation for every team. I'm tired of hearing about how Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni hate each other, how the Eagles defense is going to take a step back because they're young and they don't have
That's
proven
right.
guys. Yada, 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 yada. I'm tired of it. It's time for football. We got Ravens, we got Chiefs, we got a hell of a game Thursday
Hell of a
night
game.
to get us underway. Then we got Eagles, Packers. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be awesome. You
Hell of
got
a
to make
game.
sure you're subscribing here to the podcast. I just tried to get it up on Spotify and Apple. There was a situation, whatever. I think we figured it out. So you can listen to us there, subscribe to the YouTube. We really appreciate if you subscribe to the YouTube. That's where we kind of want to grow the stuff. We're going to be doing more and more stuff throughout the football season, vlog related and everything else, but also the Instagram because we're having fun with it, putting out graphics. And we're going to give you our NFC picks for the divisions today. And then we're going to give you some of our favorite picks for week 1 with HTP. The Harry and Trilly parlay is back and better than ever. We're going to
Better than
revamp
ever.
it. We were hitting at like 53%, which is your money back. And that's where you want to be last year. And we're looking to strive to get up into the 60
That's right,
percentile
baby.
this year. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're happy to have you guys back. Hit that
I got
subscribe button. Let's rock and roll, Harold.
I got the used carsman pen going on right now. That's how you know it's betting season. When the used carsman pen comes out like this is when you know things are bad. I do got to talk about one more thing though, because we were talking about stuff being expensive, talking about pumpkin spice. I got to say one other thing, dude, that floored me today that I saw today at Target. How are you supposed to get into football season? What is the best drink on the market that you can have any time of the week, any time of the day, besides obviously the AM like 9 after 9:30, I'll give you a pass. It's kind of bad to see it still in an AM. But what's the best drink on the market? Hands down, it's
An
an
apple
ice
cider
cold,
moonshine. Oh,
it's an ice cold, that'll make you go blind. It's an ice cold Diet Coke. Ice cold.
oh, all
You
right.
know that Target is selling a 12 pack of Diet Cokes for 7.99. What's going on, man? What is
Yeah,
going on?
yeah. We
Thank
don't.
God, thank God,
I
thank
don't know
God I
what you
stick
want from me here. We
I
talk sports. We
I
talk
I
sports.
thank God I stick to the polars.
Yeah,
Because
right.
if I was going to the Diet Cokes, things could be bad. No, you don't want financial advice from either of us, let's be honest. All right.
But you want betting advice, and
You
we gave
want
you our
betting advice.
AFC picks
That's
last
right.
week. We're gonna put it together with our NFC picks this week and be putting that out on the Instagram. So make sure you go following that. But
Let's
yeah,
do it.
man, let's get started here. We're gonna wait for my division here because I got a little bit of a preamble that I want to get into. But
Bring
let's
Diet
let's
Coke prices down. That's where I'll leave it off on. All right.
that's our political stance for today. But
All right, let's jump in. Let's
I want
talk
to
about
go
it, dude.
NFC South, dude,
Okay.
because I
This
think
is the easiest one for me.
you really think so.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, who do you think? Because I don't think whoever where everybody's hyping them up, I don't think they're gonna get it done.
So I absolutely believe that the hype is real, and I think that the Atlanta Falcons are going to trample this division. I think that the only thing that stands in between them is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that it was the right decision giving Baker that contract. He's proven himself. He's ready to be the helm of that team, the glue of that team, and to develop in Tampa to take over for Tom. Does that mean a Super Bowl? No, but does it mean that they could win at some point in his career there? 10 plus games? Yes. The difference is that you've got Kirk Cousins, who's ready to go with a legitimate, young, offensive wide receiving core, who's ready to rock and roll. They just go and pick up Matthew Judon for pennies on the dollar, adding a massive amount to their pass rush.
And
I
Justin
mean,
Simmons in the back, the safety there too.
exactly, dude. I mean, the list goes on. I think that you're also looking, dude, you're in a terrible division. You got Carolina, who clearly is forcing their young quarterback who isn't ready to be at the helm to still play on. He's losing his confidence. He's not ready to throw the ball. You've got the New Orleans Saints here with Derek Carr, who are continuously a dumpster fire. I had them picked to be the number one team in the NFC last year, probably my worst pick of all time. They looked ready to rock and roll, juice to the gills. I think they've got a horrible coaching staff, and I think that they're just a dumpster fire. And again, Tampa doesn't have, I don't believe, enough charisma right now to be able to overtake what I think
I
Kirk
think
is
that
trying to
team is
prove.
all charisma. I think that team is all
Okay.
swag by Baker, all swag by Mike Evans, Godwin. I think that's all they have is that moxie to go out, and they know that they can be in any football game that they want, but then they could also get their asses kicked in any football game too.
ATL, that's what I got to say. ATL.
I think that Tampa team has won the division the last 2 years. I think they can go for a three-peat there. That team is. I like the
Wow.
value at three. What is it? 332 on the one sports book I'm looking at. We're waiting to get sponsored, by the way.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, but uh, well, I just think the value is there for a team that's been there, done that. This Falcons team has a lot of talent, a lot of first round picks, but they have a new head coach, new DCs, new coaches. You got a quarterback coming off an Achilles injury in his mid 30s. How much have they really been able to gel and play together this offseason? Not that much from my understanding, other than what Kurt has been tampering with the
Yeah.
Atlanta Falcons this offseason. I think that they can be a good team. I just think Tampa can outlast them because I can see both of these teams winning 10 games, but Tampa wins the head to head in the division.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, I hear everything that you're saying there. Again, I'm riding high here on Tampa.
And I
Um,
think everybody is, and that's why I like
or excuse me, Atlanta.
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 Yeah, everybody's riding that Atlanta train. And I just think there's a lot of the times that these teams that get hyped up in preseason fall flat on their face, especially teams that formula dream team, you're bringing in
Well,
all these big name guys. More likely than not, the gel and the mesh, it doesn't work out and it doesn't always equivalate to winning big football games.
I hear you, man, but I'm going to make a point here, and
This
it's a
Tampa team
take.
has been together for years.
But you know what, man? And people really hated on me for saying this because they thought that it was stupid. You were one of them, but I'm going to tell you something. Atlanta has shown this offseason that they're a very, very smart organization that has realized that they've been bottom barrel, bottom of the pack, and they've made a lot of moves to clarify that over the next 5 years and beyond, that's not going to be so. Starting with it, they used their first round pick to draft their quarterback of the future. They didn't care to go get another number one guy for Kirk because they believe that they can get it done with the guys that they have. They're like, we need someone who we know we've given this quarterback $100 million, who's been injury prone. There's no lies about it. Let's have a guy waiting. And dude, they took a dude who went to the national championship. I mean, they took a dude who's NFL ready and is going to have that J Love opportunity to sit behind a career starter and see how quick the game is compared to the NCAA and so on and so forth. And then again, dude, you know how high I've always been on Matthew Judon. I mean, former Raven will always be known as a former Raven. Wish he was still in Baltimore to this day. I don't know, man. I think that there is too much that's going wrong in the NFC South for Atlanta to not take control and get it done. But like I said at the beginning of this argument, Tampa's the only thing that stands in their way. But my pick's ATO, and it sounds like yours is TB.
Yeah, I just think the value is great there for Tampa Bay, a team that's
I hear
actually
you.
gone out and done it. I like their chances there because I think this NFC there are a lot of hot, trendy picks that you keep seeing out there on ESPN and all the likes of the different outlets out there that the Falcons are going to win the division. This next division that I want to talk about here, a lot of people are picking the Rams to take over past the 49ers.
I'm one of them.
I think that's crazy,
I'm
bro.
one of them.
And then I think that there's another one in the NFC North that had the Lions just outright going to the Super Bowl. I think it's crazy
Well,
all the
that's
hype
nuts.
around that these NFC teams. And I want you to kind of talk me into the Rams and the Lions
So
for these two divisions.
let me break down why I'm so high on the Rams, because I will say, dude, I am extremely high on
I
them.
think
I
they can
think
be a very good football team. I'm not saying that they cannot be, but the 49ers have been to the Super Bowl, what, twice in 3 years, lost both times, absolute bums. But they are a well rounded, talented team. Everybody's getting paid. And I just don't think that the Rams have enough firepower to keep up with them.
so. Right now, let me just break one thing down. Rams win total is over under 9.5 games. You should. Oh wow, that's different. Wait, depending on the sports book that you're looking at, that's odd. If you're going on FanDuel, dude, they're giving you 8.5. BetMGM is at 9.5. That's nuts.
I like 8.5 a lot.
Yeah, if it's eight and a
They
half,
can win. They can win 9, 10 games.
you
I
should be
like 9.
hammering that.
Yeah.
Let me break down what my pick is here about why I'm so high on them. Number one, when you've got a healthy Matthew Stafford, you've got a Super Bowl champion at under
Probably a
center.
Hall of Fame quarterback.
You without a doubt a Hall of Fame quarterback. You've got a guy that's proven that if he wasn't in Detroit for his career, I will make this argument, as crazy as this sounds. I don't know how much talk about Aaron Rodgers there would be if Matthew Stafford was in Detroit, because the way that this dude can throw the ball is as clean as anyone else that we've ever seen. I mean, it's beautiful, dude. His play action, everything about it. Again, I'm high on Aaron. I'm just making a point. The dude got schooled because he was in his own division for years and years. Imagine if Matthew wasn't, or sorry, well, no, being in the NFC North. If he would have been in the NFC West his whole career, imagine how different things would have been. Here's my point about San Francisco. It goes back to what I said this past week about KC. San Francisco and Kansas City are both two teams that are December on teams. They're no longer regular season teams at all. People forget this. I made this point last week. And of course, you should forget it. It should be whitewashed. Kansas City was known until they went on that playoff run. They were known for drop passes, and they changed history by winning the Super Bowl. Well, I believe my correlation for the 49ers is sooner or later, your constant run through. It's the LeBron James effect of being in those late season games always, of
Takes a
being in
toll.
those long season. It takes a toll. And I'm going to say one last thing, which I think is the end all be all for why I have the Rams here. The Rams in LA have been silent, and there has been nothing but noise coming out of San Francisco. You have taken months after months to get your key guy signed. You took arguably the best tackle in football all off season up until the first week of the NFL season to restructure his deal. That is one of the craziest, most obscene things to me that I've ever seen. He's a guy that you pay immediately. You set the precedent. This is a person that we're holding on to. This is who we want. This is the standard of what the 49ers are upholding. You've got Brandon Ayuk, who's acting like that he's coming to my division the whole time, and then he finally gets settled on a deal. This, that, and the other. CMC's got to get paid. At some point, you're going to make a move on Brock Purdy, or are you going to pay him early? Because clearly that's the point. That's now the NFL standard. Anytime that great teams make noise like this, it never, ever, ever turns out well. Ever. Key example, the Pittsburgh Steelers, probably the second most decorated to third most decorated NFL franchise. What happened when Ben Roethlisberger was going crazy? What happened when AB was going crazy? What happened when Le'Veon Bell was going crazy? Downfall after downfall after downfall after downfall. And by the way, I'm talking about a head coach who's always over 500. But those playoff runs got slimmer, and those playoff wins became desolate. Nothing around. And so that's where I'm seeing the 49ers and why I'm so high on the Rams. It isn't to the fact that I think that the Rams have now made these huge moves that Puka Nacua is going to now be, the next Tyreek Hill. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that the leader of the pack has made way too much noise lately. I think the 49ers are going to be lucky to sniff 11 wins.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with everything you're saying, and I kind of like because I don't want the 49ers to be good. Like
Mhm.
I would appreciate if they did fall
Yeah,
flat on their face, but I just don't see the Rams making that big enough a jump to oversee them in the division. I think the Rams get in the playoffs. I can see them getting that first wild card
wild
spot
card. Yeah,
and probably giving a really good game for that first and maybe winning a playoff game. 100% I could see that happening. But my biggest thing and my last question before we move on to the next here is losing Aaron Donald on that defense.
massive. Yeah, massive.
You got all these offensive weapons, but you lose the best player probably in all of the NFL. Maybe if not, just want to talk defense, the most dominant player in the NFL. That doesn't just go, oh, we'll be okay.
Right,
That's
right,
not a Joe Schmo. You know,
right.
I mean, that's losing a Jason Kelsey like that. That's tough for a
100%.
team, a leader and an impact player like that. And I can see them being able to put up points, but not having that guy in the middle, it
Is
it
nuts.
it it hid a lot of their flaws last year that made them be able to bounce back and be competitive towards the end stretch of last year.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I think that you're absolutely right there, man. I think that the Rams do have adversity to come over. But again, I'm just going to make the point with a healthy Matthew Stafford, you never know what's going to happen. I
Yeah.
mean, listen, they absolutely, without a doubt, they've got, when you look at the NFC West, when you really break down the capabilities of these teams, the best quarterback does live in LA. There's no quarterback that's healthy in that division that's better than Matthew Stafford when he's healthy. Now, he's got to have the receiving core to stay healthy too to keep up. I understand that. That's the one area that the 49ers 100% have them beat out on. They have this utility box of nonstop weapons that no matter injury, they can throw in. Deebo Samuel, CMC, Kittle, Brendan Ayuk. I get it. But we know that Brock Purdy has his flaws. We know that the 49ers have their flaws. There's a very high chance, dude, if I could put a bet on any quarterback to miss 4 games this season, the 2 people that I would put that in on, not wishing injury on anyone, I'm just stating a fact of past history, is number 1, Deshaun Watson. Number 2 is Kyler Murray. And then the Seahawks, man, you're bringing in my former DC. I think he's going to be successful, but I also think that there's going to be that first year head coaching bumps that are going to occur. So
Mhm.
to me, I think that there's a very high chance that, listen, I'm not saying that the Rams are going to win their division and then go on a long playoff run, but I think that as a bettor, they are one of the best teams to be high on right now.
Yeah, I think this division is going to be a lot tighter than it has in previous years for sure.
I could see that.
Because I think the Seahawks, they have enough talent on that team to compete. Now, like what you said, the deterrents are with the rookie head coach there. But I mean, what they've needed to figure out kind of is that defense, and that's what he's there to do at the head coaching position,
Oh,
right?
10,000%.
And then I think the Cardinals can be a lot better with all the talent that they've brought in over the last year. Gannon's under his second year. They were
Yep.
more competitive in games towards the end of the season.
Yep.
We'll see with Kyler. He's going to be the biggest thing. If Kyler Murray can be that Oklahoma guy where he can go run around and make, video game plays and sling the ball around to, a couple of his new weapons, then maybe they can surprise some people. I'm not saying, compete for 10 plus wins, but they could be a 7-8 win team that
Yeah.
can maybe steal a game from these two teams at the top.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it works there at that division. But I mean, it seems like you're in on the Rams there. I just think the 49ers still have too much to overcome for that
Yeah,
division.
again, yeah, and I'll just leave it again. I think that they barely sniff out 11. I think they're guaranteed to get 10, and like KC come December 15th going into Christmas time, it's going to be a totally different team than we're going to see in September, October, November. The 49ers that we're going to see over the next 90 days will be a coin flip, a complete 50-50 difference from what we will see in December and on. That's what I believe. And I think the Rams I think the Rams are a regular season team, not a playoff team. You want
All
to
right.
go to the North?
Yeah, let's go to the North because I have some
Yeah.
takes about the team that everybody's hyping up there.
Okay, you start us off then.
Talk me into why the Detroit Lions have become this juggernaut. We're talking about the
Yep.
Detroit Lions,
Yep.
a team that has been an embarrassment for decades. Now
Yep.
they're all of a sudden a winning model of success. a winning model of that we can trust that they can get it done. I like a lot of the players on their team. I think they have a lot of great weapons and opportunities. Jared Goff is good, but he's not great. I don't look at him and go, this is a guy that's going to go win me 14 games and go win me a division and go get me to the Super Bowl. He's been able to get to the Super Bowl with the Rams when he has that whole structure built up around them. And I think they kind of almost have it there. But then at the end of the day, I look at this head coach and he's the reason why they didn't get there last year.
Yeah.
What makes me have confidence that this guy has learned and been able to overcome these just meathead mistakes that they had last year to go and propel into that next upper echelon of the NFC. This team hasn't done it for more than 2 years, where you look at, we have doubts on the 49ers who've been doing it year after year. We have doubts for the Eagles that have been doing it year after year, right? But now we're going to say after 1.5 years for the Detroit Lions that they're one of the best teams in the NFC. I don't see it. I don't buy it. They're going to take a huge step back in a division that's gotten better and has caught up to them a little bit talent-wise. They're still going to win 10, 11 games, but I don't see them being a dominant team that everybody keeps hyping up to go to the Super Bowl. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Their offensive line it's good, but it's not like everybody wants to say it's the best in the league. Why? They had one good season running the football. Like, it's not like they've been doing it year after year after year. They have talent and they can do it moving forward. But my biggest thing is I haven't seen it. And I know what the Lions are. And I know what the Lions have been. And I just can't get over that fact. Maybe I'm dead wrong and they go and they have a great year. They should. I just don't see why everybody is so willing to put them above the Eagles and the 49ers so fast. I just don't get it.
You know, man, number one, love the energy that you came in with that take. That was
because
phenomenal.
I've been arguing with people about this. It's like, oh,
well, and dude, what I think is so crazy is how, the NFL is a league of patterns, but it's a fan base of dementia because people forget how is it that we've now seen that Green Bay, the king of that house for years and years and years and years, who own that division. Let me ask you a question. If Jordan Love was the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots, are we all of a sudden going to forget that for 20 seasons they won their division for, I think it was 12 or 15 years? No, we will. At some point, you got to remember that. You got to come back to the people who have formerly run this area of the country in football are back. And the idea to me that Green Bay is not getting that respect, in all honesty, after we saw what Jordan could do, after we saw Jordan go toe-to-toe with the Cowboys and out-throw Dak in that final game and just go crazy. Well, not his final game. He went on. They won that game. The idea that they went against then the 49ers and kept that first half competitive, that they're not the favorite here, to me is nuts. And I also will say that there's no doubt in my mind, barring injury and obviously sustained health, that kid in Chicago is going to be the MVP, is going to be the
rookie of the year.
The rookie of the year. I couldn't get the phrase out. And if not, and if he wasn't the guy under center, Roma Dunze, in my opinion, absolutely, without him even taking his first regular season snap or catch, would 100% have the ability to light up the field and earn that award. If the guy throwing it to him obviously wouldn't be the one who's going to get it before him. Minnesota, again, if they had the healthy guy, absolutely, they're a 12-win team. So to your point, you're exactly right. The NFC North is incredibly competitive. And the idea that Detroit's just going to walk into 12 wins is obscene. I mean, yes, they've got Jared Goff, who's proven that he can still throw the rock. They've got great wide receivers. There's no doubt about it. But, dude, so does Chicago right now. And in all honesty, Green Bay has got the quarterback who I think is probably the most talented that we've seen so far. Obviously, the kid in Chicago could totally change that. But out of the talent that we've seen so far who's played in regular season games, Green Bay's got the most talented quarterback, and that matters.
Yeah. And my thing is, I get being excited for your team as a fan, right? You should
Right.
be excited, especially the Lions, where they've been so bad for so many years, to finally see stuff really come together and have that feeling of we have a shot at this. I'm not poo-pooing or dismissing that at all. You should feel that way, but to
Right.
see it on a national analytical stage, I just think
Nuts.
it's crazy. Yeah,
Nuts.
and it's malpractice at this point looking at this, right? Like it's just saying it to get a hot take so you aren't talking about the 49ers and the Eagles anymore, right? That you want that next team that you think that you're going to jump the gun and be like, oh, I was right about them.
Yep.
That's what people are doing, and I think it's wrong. But yeah, and then to kind of go to the Green Bay side of it here, I'm kind of on the same page there a little bit. Where I'm with the Lions is Jordan Love had a good 9 games to end of the year, right? He went and he kind of proved it, why he should get that big contract, but it was only 9, 10 games. It's not like it's been a couple years now. He's gotten a chance to sit. It's not like he hasn't been experienced, seeing, getting play reps in practice and with this team. It's not like he's a first year guy, but you still gotta have to go and figure out and do it again. I mean, we saw Jalen Hurts go and get the Eagles to a Super Bowl MVP year. Next year, he takes a huge step back after going 10-1 and kind of falling apart. And now he's kind of in a what's gonna happen year. The way that the NFL works, it's ups and downs. I just think both of this Lions and this Green Bay team, they have so much talent. It's going to be so much based on what the quarterbacks can do to get them there. Obviously, that's what the NFL is. It's a quarterback run league. But when it comes down to it, I think this Green Bay team has enough to go and take the division from this Lions
Yes.
squad, that you just have more confidence that Matt LaFleur and their defense has been able to build up and give Jordan Love an opportunity to go win these football games, where I don't have faith in the other head coach that's going to bite kneecaps and this and that, because when it comes down to it, the guy doesn't know when to go for it on fourth down or when to kick a field goal. And that's what's going to keep hurting them at the end of the day.
Listen, I'm not as hard to end this off. I'm not as hard on Campbell as you are. I really like him. I respect him, but I'll leave it at this. At the end of the day, when it comes down to it, when you're comparing apples to oranges and you don't know what to pick, there's a lot of great quarterbacks in this division. There's a lot of great offensive talent in this division. There's a lot of great schemes that have been made in this division. Where I fall onto it is, what has the history been to play out? And Green Bay has been the one to run that camp year in and year out. That's their culture. That's their mindset. That's what
Yeah.
Brett Favre did. That's what Aaron Rodgers did. And now I believe that's what Jordan Love has the opportunity to do.
Yeah.
And so right there with you, I'm 100% hot on the Packers. And I
I
think
love,
the idea of getting them still at plus 230 before
right?
the season starts, you should absolutely be putting money on that.
Yeah. And it's going to be interesting when I talk about that game Friday night in a little bit about that Packers
Yep.
team. But and when it comes down to it, I love a good rah-rah guy, but rah-rah guys get you only so far. And you've seen that.
Yeah.
You need an offensive minded head coach to get you over the top. Green Bay has that. Now, Big
100%.
Cat loves to make jokes about, going or not going for it, kicking a field goal against Tom Brady and the Bucks all those years ago. But I think they've beaten it into Matt LaFleur's head that he's been able to learn from it moving forward. But yeah, man.
All right, dude. Over to the East. Over to the East, who's got, obviously, arguably, without a doubt, the number two, if not third best team in the NFC, in the Philadelphia Eagles. The Dallas Cowboys, who can't decide when they want to sign guys, can't decide when they want to sign their quarterback, and only know how to
They
beat
should give
up
them all
on
the money. Give
high
them all the
school
money.
teams. The New York Giants, who have scrapped every piece of true talent that they have had, and yet have paid a guy who fleeced them and made generational talent by only throwing interceptions. And now, dude, the Washington Commanders, who've drafted Jaden Daniels and might have the potential to make a wild card spot. Brother, this is your division. Take it away.
Yeah, I do think the commies are going to be a different team this year. They've kind of been building it up the right way the last year or so here. I think getting rid of Jahad Dotson, especially within division, is very old. Washington football team, Redskin Commanders
Yeah.
style. But I didn't get that. But Their defensive line has been built up over the past couple years,
Very.
and they're going to be competitive a little bit. I don't see them winning 9+ games, but 7, 8
What's their
wins, maybe
total?
maybe steal one from the Eagles and Dallas. They can give them a game. They've always given the Eagles a tough stretch, but
Dude,
uh,
6.5. I feel like you got to bet the over on that.
yeah, I
Six and
could
a
see him getting
half.
7 for
Yeah.
sure. And I probably I haven't looked at their schedule, but being a lower ranked team last year, I'm sure their strength of schedule isn't anything too crazy. So you can easily walk into some wins there. I mean, yeah, to start the year, Bucks, Giants, Bengals is tough, Cardinals. So I mean, you could be looking at 3-1 to start the year, and everybody's
Yep.
hyping up Jaden Daniels, until they figure out that rookie running quarterback. And we'll kind of get to those picks for week 1 coming up here shortly. But at the end of the day, I like Washington. Dallas is always going to be a problem. Just because of the pure talent. But then when it comes down to it, it's the head coach for me. It's the quarterback. They just can't get it done. And
No.
everybody wants to talk about how they can do this, they can do that. Who's their wide receiver two at this point? Brandon Cooks. Again, they're running him back out there again. You got CeeDee Lamb, who's an absolute stud. You got Zeke Elliott back as your main running back. Like, what are we doing here? This isn't 2016 again. This team has gotten old fast. They can't figure out how to pay guys. They can't figure out how to win football games when it matters. And I just think that's just going to keep going. You haven't seen a division winner in back-to-back years in the NFC East since 2004, when who did it, Harry? The Philadelphia Eagles did it. So the Eagles are looking to go and bounce back from a piss poor end of the season last year, where there are a lot of concerns, there are a lot of question marks. But when you look at this football team, the talent is just there. It is all over the place, whether it's A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts looking to be healthy again with his knee was banged up last year. You bring in a top 3 running back in Saquon Barkley, who's pissed off and angry at the NFL and at the New York Football Giants, who are in your division, to go out and just dominate. Dallas Goedert. And then on the defensive side of the football, everybody wants to say that this team is, you lose Cox and you lose Kelsey, and the linebackers are weird and they just never have been good. But you've gone out and you've put points of emphasis on the defensive line and cornerbacks, where you go and you get Mitchell from Toledo with your first round pick. You get DeJean, he needs to work his way back in, but you still have Slay. You got Keely Ringo. You got Isaiah Rodgers, who you stole 2 years ago when he got banned for the year from the Colts because he was gambling. The guy's an absolute stud there. You've built up all this defensive depth that is young and talented on the defensive line. You're banking on a big year from Bryce Huff. It's going to be interesting because you need to see him fill the shoes of a Hassan Reddick, who has been an absolute cancer up in New York, that still hasn't signed a contract there. That would have happened here in Philadelphia.
Isn't that nuts? Isn't that
Yeah.
nuts?
It's crazy, dude. That
It
would have
is
happened
crazy.
here because the Eagles weren't going to pay him. The NFL
Yep.
realizes, and Howie Roseman realizes, that when it comes down to it, after you get over 31, 32 years old, you're not getting those big contracts anymore. He doesn't want to sit with it. So you go and you give it to a 25, 26-year-old in Bryce Huff, who hasn't played as many snaps and doesn't have the pedigree, but I like the upside that this defense has. I think the defense can be a real factor. It's a rebuilding stage with the young core that they have in Jalen Carter and Bryce Huff and Josh Sweat. These guys can go and they can get it done. You need Nolan Smith to take that next step, where he got to sit back and learn from a lot of guys last year. He wasn't lighting the world on fire this off season, but these are the guys that have the potential. They have the pedigree. They've have the chances to go out and get it done now. And I can see it being a top 15 defense easily. They can't be worse than last year, where they were 30th in the league. All you're looking for is a top 15 defense, a team that has a head coach, well, a head coach, a very experienced defensive coordinator in Vic Fangio, who has been a head coach for years and decades in the NFL. This guy is here to teach this team how to be winners, how to be professionals, where you had last year Matt Patricia and Sean Desai, who are absolute clown shows that didn't know how to teach grown men how to be professionals. You have a guy in there that will tell you when you stink, tell you where you need to get better. And you see how the guys have responded this offseason where they like, yeah, this is a change. He's not holding back on us. We have to hold to the standards that Kirby Smart and Georgia and Alabama, that all these guys have come from, they have to get back to that standard where they weren't held accountable to that last year and why they fell apart. Vic Fangio, Kellen Moore, Nick Sirianni are going to get this team in the right direction, and they're going to kick some goddamn ass this year, Harry.
My only question to you, dude, because listen, I'm a full supporter of the Eagles. You absolutely should be winning the division. It's going to be a hard road ahead. You got real competitive squads here who, again, one of the things that, if you listen to our show constantly, you know that Hollywood loves to talk about in-division cadence and in-division rivalries and how different those games are. The only thing that I got to ask you that worries me about that team in green and white and in black is, dude, what is the situation with that head coach? What is the situation, man?
Yeah, I mean, he's taking a step back. He's not calling plays anymore. He's been asked that question multiple times. What do you do here, Nick? Which is a crazy question to ask a head coach. And he's just like, yeah, I get to go all facets of the team now, and I get to feel out where everybody's at and try to get everybody on the same page and this and that, which is fine because we've seen Kellen Moore be able to develop offenses and get it in the right direction, whether it was with the Chargers, the Dallas Cowboys. He did it in college. The guy is able to get it done. Nick, he's gonna be what Dan Campbell is, honestly. And I was harsh on Dan Campbell. I don't love Nick Sirianni either, but I love the other opportunities around Nick more that can go and get the job done for this team that has been there, done that. Now Ben Johnson for Detroit is a very good OC, but I can just see that these guys that the Eagles have brought in has been able to develop around Nick, help Nick develop as a head coach, who's only in his third year as a head coach, right? Or fourth year, I forget. But he's still a young guy.
It's only his third
learning.
Year.
Yeah,
exactly. And we do put so much emphasis on him because in 3 years he's already made it to a Super Bowl. He won an NFC championship. He went to a Super Bowl. He came within one incredibly lazy call and a field goal of winning a Super Bowl in his very young coaching career. So there's a different standard. Nick gets held over the coals, I think, more than most head coaches because of the spotlight that he's put himself in. You look at a guy like McCarthy, who absolutely is proving that he can't get stuff done without Aaron. But yet there's no jeopardy of his job. Now, that's also, I think, given the place that he's employed by. But the point just being is we don't talk about McCarthy the same way that we talk about Nick, because McCarthy hasn't put himself in those high-risk scenarios where Nick has. Nick's literally had the ring, the Lombardi, within grasp, and it hasn't worked out. So I think the idea, man, is, listen, I think, again, the NFC East is going to come down to where I'm going to round out my last part of this NFC conversation is all I've been harping on, if you've noticed, bro, is quarterback talk. And at the end of the day, there is not a shadow of a doubt that the Philadelphia Eagles have the best quarterback in their division. I would argue they have the best quarterback in the entire NFC. When healthy, when ready to rock and roll. So when you've got that, barring some massive catastrophe, you should absolutely be winning, if not 10, your division.
Oh, and don't get me wrong, I was very rah hyped up because I'm just hyped for the season at this point. We've been hating and down on the Eagles for so long. I'm tired of it. I can be very realistic here, where they can be 1-4 going into the bye week in week 5, and it could be ugly. It could be everybody wanting the fire, Nick. I'm going to be answering the phones, and it's going to be miserable every single day. We want Jalen gone. We want Nick gone. Everybody's got to go blow it up. It could be that. The stink from last year could roll over into it. I just don't think that these new leaders that have stepped up, and Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson on that offensive line, they've heard all the stuff. They've heard everybody say how they weren't able to get it done. They weren't able to pick up blitzes. They weren't able to get the offense to that potential last year. And they put that on them. They hear the rumors they can't get it done without Jason Kelsey. And they want to step
Yep.
up and they want to get this thing done. They're tired of last year. They're pissed off and they're ready to show everybody why that they're going to win 12 plus games this year. I got them at 12-5. And they're definitely winning this division. Maybe a 1 seed or 2 seed at the minimum for me, but it could go really bad by week 5 too.
All right, dude, let's talk first game of the season, Ravens Chiefs, and then let's get into our picks. I want to break down week 1 of the NFL season starts tomorrow, Thursday. This
Now,
podcast
today.
is going to drop today. Excuse me, today. This podcast is dropping in the morning. We give it to you. We give you, ladies and gentlemen, what you want. And what is that? We give you our voice in the morning. You see that countdown on that YouTube screen and you go, yes, Brennan the Bod, Hollywood Hair. I can listen to them now. And that's why we're here to break down Chiefs Ravens, another showdown of the AFC Championship. Now not in Baltimore, but in Kansas City on the warmer side of the year in early September. Listen, man, let's just look at this game. Let's just look at this game. Spread is at Ravens are catching 3, Chiefs are -3. I think that line is very reasonable for these offenses and these defenses. Over under is at 47. Again, this is a tight game. Ravens plus 130, Chiefs minus 150. I'm going to go quick and then I want to hear your outsider perspective. Number one, what is so hard here, bro, is that this line, this total is so tough. Because I truly believe that this is going to be a defensive battle. But with these two guys under center, 47 points is not hard to create. It's not hard to create. I think that Roquan Smith and Chris Jones are going to be leading their packs to be all over Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. I think that, again, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to have a total case of the drops outside of Kelsey. And I believe that the Ravens are going to do what they should have done in the AFC Championship, which is instead of looking to the sidelines for the majority of their offensive scheme, they are going to be running it up the middle. But with that said, that 47 number is so hard to touch, so I am nowhere near that. At the end of the day,
what do you think of the primetime unders from last year? How it was so staggering last season.
Listen, man, I would bet the under. I would bet the under, but I'm nervous about it. I think that I truly believe that this is an early season game. I understand that both quarterbacks are healthy, all the offense are healthy. That points to, oh, offense, go, 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 go. But you're forgetting, dude, you're talking about the team that was 4th in points allowed. And then you're talking about probably the biggest threat on any defensive line in Chris Jones that turned that Chiefs defense on, that led them through the playoffs, that absolutely outside of Patrick Mahomes' arm is what won them a Super Bowl. This is going to be a defensive battle. This is going to look like my patented phrase, a 2005 football game. But what worries me is, like I said, 47 points for these guys is not hard to do. You're talking about Action Jackson. You're talking about Fatty McPatty. Dude, I mean, come on. What my pick is here, brother, I think the idea of the Ravens catching 3 when they've got Justin Tucker, who can hit it day in and day out at 62 yards, when you've got Derrick Henry, when you've got Zay Flowers, when you've got a healthy Mark Andrews in the lineup, when you've got a Lamar Jackson, when you've got an Aguilar, the idea, I know that KC is going to score points. I know that Kelsey's going to have a touchdown. But the idea, dude, that the Ravens are not going to be able to keep it to a 3-point game, to me is unheard of. I got the Ravens +3.
Yeah, I think it should be a really good football game. And I kind of keep coming back to our clip that, did pretty well on the YouTube. So make sure you go subscribe to that, and on Instagram, follow us on Instagram, CO Conversations. But it's the fact that the Chiefs are a baseball team. They don't need to start well to the beginning of the year.
No.
To go on a run to win a Super Bowl. They aren't going to be phased if the Ravens go and take care of business like I think the Ravens could. with all the talent that they have there, right? And that's kind of why I'm back and forth where I think the Chiefs should win this football game, but I like the Ravens to go out and make a statement that we're here this year and we're pissed off about last
Yeah.
year, and we should be able to run it all the way to a Super Bowl this year. And that would be a huge start for them.
Massive.
My
Massive, brother.
my only question is on the other for the Chief on guarding the Chiefs here is who's gonna guard Kelsey? Is it gonna be Roquan? Are we doing a safety?
I think it's
Notre
going to be. I
Dame?
think it's going to be what it was in the AFC Championship, and you just hope for a better result, which is that you're going to park Kyle Hamilton on him
Yeah,
in
Hamilton.
one-on-one coverage,
Yeah.
which you've got to do, and Roquan is going to be leading that defensive line. I mean, listen, dude. Patrick will not be. I understand that he's the master manipulator of the pocket. He will not be in the pocket. He will not be in the pocket. This kid is going to be on his feet the entire time in play action multiple times because the way that the Ravens move, and I get that I sound like a homer, dude, but we don't play around when it comes to that. When you put zero in a leadership position, it's done. And I'm going to say something right now because he went to the other side. He went to the other team. We're not going to speak his name on the show. You're not even going to notice that Six isn't even on the field anymore. You're not even going to see it. You're not even going to notice it. And I think that the idea, again, what I think is just going to come down to your point, is the Ravens need this game more than the Chiefs do.
Yeah.
They do. They need to show that they're here, why they're here, why Lamar has gotten paid the money that he has, why our scheme should have been better. And Lamar's got a heart of a champion, man. He wants to go out there and win. He's not, listen, dude, the dude got paid and did not regress. The dude got paid and went to another level.
Won an MVP.
Won
Another
an
one.
MVP. Thank you. Another one.
Another one.
Like, let's remember that. So I got the Ravens +3.
Yeah, no, I like the Ravens. I like the Ravens to keep it close for sure. Yeah, because it's interesting. Primetime unders were nearly 70% last year.
Right.
60.6 over the last 5 seasons. Does that concern us when it comes down to touchdowns? Because the Weather Girl gave me her official pick for week 1.
I'm excited to hear it.
Do we want the first pick of the season from the Weather Girl, or we want to hold off?
We'll hold off. If it's not about
in
this
game.
Oh, then let's hear it.
It's in this game. She's going with the man who's taken over the internet, that's probably breaking up with his girlfriend on September 26th or whatever that document came out. She's going Travis Kelce, score a touchdown. That's the only reason why I was asking why. Who's covering him?
That's money.
Because if it's a linebacker, it's going to be tough to cover that guy. If it's Kyle Hamilton, it makes me a little bit more nervous, but they're going to get Kelce the ball and they're getting him in the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, that's a given. That's like saying that Lamar Jackson isn't going to rush for 20 yards. It's a given.
No.
All right, dude. We're switching it up, ladies and gentlemen. That's our picks for Thursday night. That's week 1, baby. I will obviously be rocking Ocho. No question about it. You saw the hat last week. I'm gonna have it on tomorrow. This is real deal, baby. Football is back. Trilly, football is back.
It's
dude.
back.
It's back.
It is back.
It's time. We are absolutely going to talk postseason baseball as it comes up, but this is a football show right now. We're changing it up. We're taking some picks off and we're adding some picks. We're going 2, 2, and 1. Whatever Trilly and I want. If we want to do 4 unders, we can do 4 unders. If we want to do 4 overs, we can do 4 overs. And then our locks. And then we got the HTLP, which is now going to be 1 pick each and then 1 touchdown, anytime touchdown each. All right, Trill, let's get into it, dude. Who is your first pick? Obviously, my first pick is going to be the Ravens +3. So they're my first underdog.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. All right. Way I'm leaning for my first one. I like that Ravens. I like the Bengals 8.5. I think against the Patriots, that Patriots team's gonna stink.
Oh yeah.
I think Joe's ready to go out. Now, Jamar, I didn't really hear what was going on today. I know there were supposed to be updates on him and that contract situation. I was a little busy today. I didn't kind of catch the updates on that. That would kind of concern me a
I
little
don't
bit,
think it's
but
gotten done yet.
yeah, so I that might affect me a little, but not much because I think this team still has plenty of offensive firepower. I love Chase Brown for that team, by the way, for fantasy, everybody. If you watched last week's episode, which I thought was pretty funny, doing the draft while we giving out our picks. But yeah, I think the Bengals are they're gonna whoop some ass to start the year against that Pats team that's gonna have a very long season.
Listen, dude, my next one, I think it's really easy here. Um, everybody's going one side on that. So actually, I don't know what I'm gonna let me see this. Um, I'm
This is
going over 44. I don't do I like that number? I do. I'm going over 43 and a half points, Jets 49ers.
okay.
Um, I think this is going to be a very tough game for the Jets. That they are opening their season again, prime time on the road. They're going all the way across the country. But listen, Aaron's got some real deal weapons that he's going to dice the ball out to, dish the ball out to, and the 49ers are who the 49ers are. This is a game where they again want to make a statement that they rule the kingdom, that they own their own house. And I think trying to kill an old king, to use some Game of Thrones references there, and Aaron Rodgers, what they're going for. And that means that you're dishing it to Samuel. That means that you're dishing it to Brandon Ayuk. That means that you're dishing it to Kittle. That means that CMC is absolutely rushing for two. Now, the thing that's hard about this is we are talking about two extremely legitimate defenses. And that is the whole reason why I'm going for the over. Because I think that everyone would be betting the under here. You've
Mhm.
got that Jets defense who kept them in games that they should have never been in the first place this past season with that defense. And you got the 49ers who've gotten absolutely a top 7 defense. But dude, I see the 49ers going off here and I see Aaron wanting to air it out. So I got the over in the Jets 49ers game.
All right. I'm gonna go an ugly game. But I just think this line being so close, I think one team's a lot better than the other still, even though both of them have very mediocre quarterbacks. I'll take Minnesota 1.5 over the Giants. I think the
Wow.
Giants are bad. I think they're really bad. I don't
That's a
see it.
that's practically a pick 'em, man.
Yeah.
Which I think is really disrespectful to the Vikings because, dude, even if they don't have the quarterback right, their talent
yeah.
way outweighs what New
Jefferson,
York's got going
Addison. I
on.
mean, Hawkinson's banged up to start the year, but I mean, you got Aaron Jones in there who's still a really good running back.
Yep,
Sam Darnold's whatever. Just get the ball to Jay Jetta. He's there somewhere, man.
yep.
I don't think the Giants can stop him. I think they can win by easily a touchdown in this football game.
No, man, listen, I love it. My next one I'm going with is do I pull it? Do I do it early? Yeah, no, 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 I'm gonna save that one. Okay, I'll save it. Uh I'm gonna do Cardinals plus the 6.5.
I was looking at that. I
I
was
think
looking at
that
that.
I think that there's never a better time with that big of a spread. The Bills were getting those all season long last year. The difference is you're getting Kyler Murray healthy. You're getting Kyler Murray with probably the best offensive personnel that he's had since to start his career um with the Cardinals. And again, just point being, you've got Kyler Murray healthy. And you've got a Bills squad who, dude, has lost offensive talent and hasn't added a running game. They're going to score because Allen is Allen, but that is a big spread, dude, for week 1. And you're going again against Kyler healthy. I got the Cardinals plus 6.5.
We were talking about. I was high on both of these teams earlier today when we were talking about them, and I think I'm gonna take the Commanders 3.5 plus 3.5. I think with a rookie running quarterback, it's tough to figure out at times the first couple weeks. And I think they can be able to put some points, hang with them a little bit. I still really like Tampa Bay to win the game, but I think it could be a 3-point football game where we're like All right, the Commanders actually might give some people some problems here.
I hear you. All right, and for my last pick before we go to locks. This is tough. This is so tough.
I'm looking at because I'm just looking at my next two,
This is so tough. I'm going.
and go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
So no, go
No, no,
ahead.
no. You go. You go.
No, I'll because it'll tie into everything. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm going. I'm going the under in the Titans Bears game at 45 and a half. 44 and a half. I'm going the under.
Do you think that's more of two young quarterbacks? Do you think the
Yes, I
Titans
think
can't
it's
score, or do you think the
no,
Bears
I
can put
think
up some points? And
I think it's that the Titans can't score. I think it's that you got two young QBs. You've got the Bears at home who don't know how to react to having their possible savior in their own presence. And I think dude, at the end of the day, you got to work out the kinks. I mean, you're talking about a lot of young players here, dude.
yeah, no, I
You
agree.
got to adjust.
I was kind of thinking about taking the Titans just because the Bears are all, oh, Bears are back. We got our guy. And
Right.
for them to lose week one to the Titans at home would be hilarious. That'd be such a Bears thing.
That would be brutal.
I don't love that. I'm not going to take that, but something to keep an eye on.
I get you.
um, Now for my next two, for my last pick, and then for my lock, it's interesting. Did you take the over in that Chiefs Baltimore game?
No.
Oh,
No, if
okay.
anything, I'd bet the under.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Good. All right. And then that makes me feel better. And then the Jets 49ers, you were taking the over, right?
No, I'm taking the under in that
Oh,
game.
you're
No, no,
taking
no, no. Excuse me. I
yeah.
said the over, the over, the
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you were saying everybody would bet the under in that.
Everybody would bet the under in that game. Yes.
So I was bringing it up earlier, the 70% last year. It's time for prime time overs. We as a community have to make prime times great again.
I hear you.
And it's going to start tomorrow with Baltimore Chiefs. It's going to be a great game. Whether the over under hits, it's going to be a good football game. But then I'm going to take Green Bay and the Eagles over 49.5.
Wow.
I don't like the number for either team there because I think it's going to be a decent game. I'm very bullish on the Eagles right now, but I'm still wary of the defense a little bit, and I'm more comfortable on rooting for points in that football game, whether it's the Eagles putting up a bunch and then maybe they give up some. But I think that's going to be a really good up and down football game to see where we're at to start the season there.
I love it.
And
And
then
what's
for
your lock, brother?
my lock is going to another primetime game Sunday night. Rams, Detroit Lions, both teams that we talked heavily about earlier. 51.5. I think there's a lot of offense on both sides of the football there. And it could be a track meet. You
So
don't
you're
like
taking
that?
the over. So you're taking
Yeah.
the over. Over
Yeah.
50, over 51 and a half. No, dude, I love it because I'm betting the same game. I got the Rams money line outright. Plus one, what is it, 156 or is it 136? What am I? The
Uh,
plus one
160 on FanDuel.
160. Rams plus 160. I love the Rams here, man. I love Stafford again on the road. He's won on the road in Detroit. He won in Detroit as a Lion, and he's beaten Detroit in their own house. Rams plus the 160.
All right. Let's put together the newly recreated HTP here, the Harry and Trilly parlay. We're going to give one pick each and then one anytime touchdown score each. I think we hit once last year. We got robbed
We got
twice.
robbed.
And the one time we actually did hit, Mr. Harold Hoops
Let's
didn't
not.
bet it.
Can we not get into it? Please.
So we're going to hope for a little bit better here. That's why we're shaking it up a little bit. And I think that it's going to be a lot more successful moving forward here because we'll have a better feel for one game each. It doesn't have to be the lock, it can be the
Yep.
locks. And then also touchdown scorers, they're not always easier, but as the season moves forward, the trends of who's getting in the end zone becomes a
Yep.
little bit easier to find. So I think that's how we can able to scheme up some more wins here moving through this NFL season when we're all going to get that gas money and some here. So what's your first pick for the HGP here, Harry?
You know, man, I'm going crazy here. We're kicking it off with Thursday night. I'm obviously gonna have to make this bet slip now because we're putting this out
No, we got to
Thursday
put it out
night.
right away because I think I'm gonna do a Friday night one.
I'm starting it out with my touchdown pick. I'm going Zay Flowers anytime touchdown plus 210.
All right. I like it. I like it. He's gonna be the main guy for Lamar this year, is he?
I mean,
Catching the ball.
outside of Andrews, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at OBJ goes to Miami, yeah, and Zay, but Zay showed that he should be. He was no fluke, man. I mean, he played out of his mind this past season.
Yeah.
So I love Zay here,
Yeah,
and I think the
the guy
value
knows how
there.
to get open and get when they get the
Yep.
ball in his hands, he can be very dynamic. His route running ability is fantastic.
It's insane. His footwork is ridiculous, dude. The way that he's able to juke is unreal,
Yeah.
especially for a guy that size because he's 100%. I mean, this was the thing I was worried about when I first saw Zay, and then he totally proved everybody wrong. He's a small guy. He
Mhm.
is,
Yeah.
but he's incredible, man. All right, who do you got? I'm
I
hoping that
think
you
I'm
say
gonna go Friday. We're both going a touchdown score for our teams. I wanted to go Jalen a little bit with the tush push
love it.
to meme everybody, but I think we're going Saquon Barkley.
I
First
love
game as
that,
an
man.
Eagle.
Make a
You
statement,
saw
number
Nick
26.
Sirianni the other day before they left. He goes, "Yeah, man, he's a very weird interview press conference person. He's word salads galore, but he's telling the story. He's like, yeah, Saquon, he made a cut yesterday off a run and he took off, and I had my sunglasses on my face, and they were Oakleys, and I had to take them off my face, and I went to the coaches and I with my sunglasses in my hands, and I went, wow, that's crazy. I'm like, goddamn right. If Saquon Barkley's making the man think about his Oakley sunglasses and how great this offense is going to be, they're getting the ball in his hands and they're making an emphasis that Saquon's a top back in the league and he's getting in there.
Dude, are you going to buy the jersey?
Um, See, this has always been a topic of discussion for me. As a bigger fella, I normally tend to go O line, D line.
I hear you.
I had a Carson Wentz jersey for the longest time. I
Right.
loved Carson, and he was the only quarterback I've
Yeah,
really
you don't
ever
have a
had.
one. You don't have a one. That's true.
Well, that's the thing. I just got a one.
Wow.
So we're
Wow,
in
that's
them.
news. That's breaking news.
That is breaking news. That's what I was going to bring up. I feel like obviously you wear whatever you want, but just my personal preference, I always go with the Mylatas, the Dickersons, the Lane Johnsons, the Fletcher Cox, the Brandon Graham, the
The
Jason
Kelsey.
Kelseys. What
Yeah,
else do I got? Broderick Bunkley. Uh, like yeah, I got all the O line D linemen in the
that's
closet over
awesome.
there. But I finally breached out. I'm committed to Jalen. I'm ready for him to get
What
back to the
color
MVP.
did you get the one
The
in?
Kelly Green. The
Nice.
Kelly.
I knew that would be
Oh,
the
yeah.
answer. And that's the only that you could
Yeah.
get
Yeah,
26
it's
in.
clean.
Yeah.
I might have to wear it to Baltimore. I might get stabbed wearing it, but it'll be
Real or
fun.
DH gate? Be honest.
Real one. Real one.
Wow. All
Yeah.
right. All right, dude. Dude,
We're committed to the man.
I know that we said we don't have to do locks, but I feel so hot on him, man. My first pick, I'm throwing the Rams in money line into this parlay.
Okay. I like that. I mean, we talked about it a bunch. How do we feel about that Dallas Cleveland game? We really didn't talk much
You
about
know,
it.
man, we didn't talk about it, and I was starting to look at that one too.
I don't know if we want to put Dallas in there. Money line.
Dallas is the underdog, man. I
I know,
mean,
and I don't know if I want to touch it though. I was thinking maybe the over.
do you want to do that or do you do
I also like the Raiders,
really?
but I'm not gonna do that to the people. And I think I might just stick with one of my picks.
I
I
like,
also I like Houston too.
if we wanted to be smart, we take the Bengals outright.
I like that.
If we wanted to
But
be smart,
420 though. Should we tease it down to like 6.5 alternate spread?
no, just take the money line. Just
Yeah,
get
but
the guaranteed win.
minus 420. All right, so what would that be?
Either that or do we go crazy
15 to win 245 with all four of those. I like that.
or Or do we go crazy? And this is where the podcast is getting long. I'm just going to throw this out here. Do we do an alternate spread, and do we take the Bengals like minus like 10 or 12?
Minus 6.5.
No, dude, have them
Oh,
go
go
big.
more?
Like go more. Like go like Cincinnati.
We're going from super safe money line to going they're going to win by
Dude,
10.
if you get them at minus 10.5, that's plus 114. Holy shit. No, we can't do that.
No, 6.5.
No, no.
Yes. He's at the 6.5. I like that. 15 to win 329.99. That's a great start to the year.
326?
Yeah, 326.99.
I like that too. All right, it's locked. It's locked.
All right, it's in. Saquon, Flowers, start us off Thursday, Friday.
Yep.
Get in the end zone. Rams with the big upset over Detroit and those bums. And they're going to prove me right. I love that pick. And then Bengals, touchdown win, 6.5. Love it. Like it. Lock
This
it
could
in.
this could be a huge way to start off the year, dude.
Fantastic. We're
This
building
could be
the
huge.
bankroll. Building it up. Love
All
it.
right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Another great episode. Go Ravens. We will be back next week giving you what came out of the NFL Week 1. Can't believe that we're saying it, but we are back for a third season, ladies and gents. We're going to be tracking our picks. Graphics will be up. Repost them, take them. Let us know how it goes. We love you. Hollywood out. Brendan, the bod, take us out.
Follow the IG. Subscribe to the YouTube. Subscribe. Like, subscribe, comment, please. Helps us out a lot. We're trying to get to 1,000 subs by the end of the season. That would be huge. But it'll be a lot of fun. Make sure you go check out BSP Podcast too for more cornhole and Philly sports stuff. But shout out to the 215. Go Birds, baby. It's going to be a huge week. Let's go. Let's go. NFL's back.
Go Raven.